Hello, everybody. My name is Dominic Norton, or online, I'm also called Mr. Hackathon. Today, I'll be hosting a workshop with you that is an introduction to building software without coding. Many of you are on different stages of your software development journey. I want to show you some tools that are really, really interesting, really innovative to help you get started on making apps, Chrome extensions, voice applications, and more. I personally started my no code journey with HTML and CSS. And like many of you, for me, it was about making money. Well, 10 plus years ago, we had MySpace, and MySpace was just like Facebook before Facebook, and we could customize our layouts of our profiles. And here in London, students, secondary school students, and primary school students were paying people to customize these MySpace layouts. And I wanted in on the action, I wanted some money. And so I learned HTML and CSS, which kicked off my journey into programming, later learning JavaScript, TypeScript, Python, and more. During the summers, there was also programs, technology programs here in London. And at the time, Adobe Dreamweaver was one of the biggest no code platforms. It was a drag and drop platform that allows you to develop websites without coding. This is 10 plus years ago. The ecosystem has come a long way, but it's my journey. In my journey, I've learned a lot about no code that I'm sharing with you. I have an experience as an international athlete, an architectural technologist. This means when I was working in a profession, when I graduated with a construction degree, and I was an architecture student, I went into the field as what's called a virtual design construction engineer, and I was doing research and development in drones, 3D printers, laser scanners, virtual reality, and augmented reality, and I was using that in the architecture and construction industry for clients like Microsoft, Mercedes, Blue Origin, and more. Since I've been a no code content creator for some of the biggest brands in the space, I've advised startups and accelerators, and I create content. Today, we'll be talking about a little bit about no code and why it's relevant. We'll be getting an overview of the technology ecosystem. We'll be talking a little bit about career paths in the space and also communities that it could be effective to join. Historically, creating software has been very, very expensive. You need a specialist skill of engineers, and it's also time consuming. If you're a business, this time is money, and also you want to be efficient on your resources. So businesses for many, many years now have looked for ways to find the benefits of technology and the benefits of innovation without the costs of it. This is where no code and low code come into play. No code is a umbrella term used to describe products that allow you to develop software without coding. We'll go over some of these products a little bit later, but for now, think WordPress, think Wix, Squarespace. These are all website builders. You have many, many other tools in the space, but WordPress is used by most businesses in the world. Technologies. We mentioned a few website builders such as WordPress, such as Wix, Squarespace, Webflow. These are tools that allow founders, that allow businesses to build websites without coding. Automation tools. Tools like Zapier, Parabola allow you to do data transformations, allow you to connect APIs together in really interesting ways, again, without coding. Usman, I think you have a question. Do you have a question, Usman? If you have a question, you can just shout out your question. Nope. Okay. Virtual and augmented reality. If you're familiar with Facebook or Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok, all of them have lenses. All of them have augmented reality filters and virtual reality filters. They also have independent platforms for developing those filters. And across the world, people are getting paid to actually develop filters for brands. You can do this too without coding using no code tools. Gaming. Tools like BuildBox and FlowLab and even Unity allow you to create games without coding. Web3, if you're interested in blockchain, if you're interested in smart contracts, tools like OpenZeppelin, tools like Third Web allow you to create decentralized applications without coding. Maybe you thought about creating a WhatsApp chatbot or a Facebook chatbot. These chatbots can be built using no code, using tools like VoiceFlow, using tools like Landbot. Maybe you're really, really strong in front end development and you struggle a little bit on the back end. There's tools that allow you to manage databases, again, without coding or extreme technical knowledge. Mobile applications. I'll be showing you a little bit later some mobile applications that I've made and some products that I made, but you can create progressive web apps and native apps without coding. In today's tutorial, a little bit later, we're going to create a progressive web app for startup founders in Nigeria. Does anybody have any questions before we keep going on? If no one has any questions, okay, thanks. Thanks, Mohammed. If no one has any questions, we're going to keep going on. There's research supports that there will be 4 times more citizen developers than traditional developers. A citizen developer is a business user that can create software applications for business use cases. For example, if you work in a modern day company now, chances are you're using Microsoft Excel or Google Sheets. The ability to create automations doing that would make you a citizen developer. You don't need extreme technical knowledge, but you're applying that technical knowledge that you have for very specific business cases. Freelance developer. If you looked on Upwork, if you looked on Freelancer, I'm sure you've seen many different calls or requests for proposals for projects. By learning no code, you can get started almost immediately after 1 day, 1 week, 1 month of learning and start developing apps for clients, developing websites for clients, and more. An agency managing director. Maybe you want to manage an agency and you want to manage freelance developers. And instead of actually developing yourself, you go out and get the contracts and get the deals, and you hire freelance developers to do that. Maybe you want to be a founder. For founders, there's 2 traditional paths. There's bootstrapping and venture capital raising, or the venture capital path. When you bootstrap a company, that means you build the company, you generate a company that actually has cash flow and generating revenue, and you reinvest that revenue back into the company for it to grow. A VC-backed company is a little bit different in that you'll go out and raise money to help spur growth, and that is actually how you grow and move forward. No code can help you in both. Content creation and instruction. So this is partially what I do. I create a lot of content, and I also instruct students, professionals, lots of different people in how to use no code and low code. But you can also be a hobbyist. So you can create applications and software for fun, and you don't necessarily have to monetize everything you learn or everything you do. So some communities, just like we're in Google communities now, there's also communities in the no-code space. On Deck. So On Deck is a global community. You should be able to type in, I think the website's Beyond Deck, and you will find communities in the climate change area, in the no code area, in the venture scout area, and these are professionals and innovators all over the world that want to make changes to the world, and we have came together to learn and to grow. 100 days of no code. So if you type in the hashtag 100 days of no code on Twitter, you will find hundreds of people that are taking the challenge to build for 100 days. Similar to 100 days of code, 100 days of no code allows you to create micro projects and build with a community and develop that habit for building. MakerPad is one of the biggest educational resources out there now for no code and low code. Indie Hackers is a great resource for entrepreneurs and people interested in business and technology. And Product Hunt is a community of founders launching and marketing their products. So we're going to go over some projects I've built. This one on the screen, I've recently taken some of these off the App Store and the Google Play Store because I don't have time to market them. But this one on the screen was a app for finding scholarships in the UK. A very simple directory app. We're going to create a directory app a little bit later, even though it won't be for scholarships. Missing Black people. So this was featured in BBC, ITV, Sky, a lot of news outlets across the UK. This was a directory for missing Black people appeals, and what it will do, it will scrape Twitter and display the missing Black people appeals on this website. Crypto scam detector. So this has a little bit over 100 users, and we use the CoinMarketCap API to be able to detect whether a website is a scam or not. So this is a Chrome extension built with no code, and what it does, it verifies the current website a user is on, and if it's in the CoinMarketCap database, it says it's safe. If it's not in the CoinMarketCap database, it says it's unsafe. Web3 was a resource of over 239 Web3 resources, from careers to cryptocurrencies and tokens to DAOs, decentralized finance, and more. So what we're going to do now is actually build something. So before we get into that, does anybody have any questions? Okay. So what we're going to do to build is use a tool called Glide. So now Glide, there's a couple things to remember about Glide. Glide is free. It does have a paid version. When we go through the tutorial, you'll see where the paid version actually comes into play. But we can build something without upgrading to the paid version. You don't have to download Glide. Glide is available on the web. And if we scroll down, we'll see people are building delivery planners, inventory trackers, business reporting, dashboards, applicant managers, and customer portals. This is great for you to build solutions for local businesses and build solutions for businesses abroad. You want to create an account. To get started, you want to create an account and click Open Glide. We want to give it some time to open. Okay. So now it's open. What we actually want to do, you can see these are all the projects that I've created. But what we want to do is go to my team, and then we want to go on new project. And what we're going to do is name our project. So, and we can choose one or two options. So we can create a Glide app, which is an app optimized for phone and tablet, or we can create a Glide page, which is like a data-driven website. What we're going to do is create a Glide app, and now it gives you four options of what to use as a backend database. This is a very, very simple no-code tool. Some no-code tools you can connect to Firebase and tools like Xano and different types of backend databases. But for this, there's only four, really five options. Google Sheets, Airtable, Excel, and their native Glide tables. For this particular tutorial, we're going to use their native Glide tutorials or Glide tables. So what we'll see when we actually create an app, we'll see a list, and I'll show you where this list actually comes from. We have some menu options on the left and menu options on the right, and we have some tabs at the top. These menu options on the right allow us to customize the style and what you can see, and this also does a similar thing but with some added details. Before we even do any customization, what we want to do is change our backend database. To do that, we go to Data Editor because we're using the Glide native tables. And what we'll see is, by default, it gives us a things table, a categories table, and a users table. And I'm not going to make too many changes to this just for the sake of time. But what I do want us to notice is that we have columns, we can add additional columns, and we can give the columns a type. So if I wanted to add, let's say, an age, I can make it a number, true, false, boolean, image, time, date. I can add conditional columns and some other really cool features. And so what we're going to do for our resource directory for startups in Nigeria is the first thing we're going to do is remove a lot of these. We're also going to remove the columns that are not applicable. And I've already created here some of the things I want to go here just for the sake of time. So I'm going to put that in my table. So we have a name. We have a name. We don't have a description column. So to add a description column, I'm just going to add a text column. I can change that to this. So we have our description. We have an image. I'm going to leave this image just for the sake of time. This would be an image. This could be the logo of each of these different resources that we have here. And we have a URL. So I'm going to add URL. I'm going to call it website. We want to store the website of each of these resources. we have our image, we have a category. We want to change these categories to be applicable. So it's accelerate, accelerate, funding, funding. Accelerate, accelerate, funding, funding. So this is perfect for now. What I do want to do is go to another table, which is the categories. And so this is what we have for categories. So each resource is in a category, but I have a separate table for that, and you're going to see why shortly. So I have two categories. I have accelerator and I have funding. And so I'm actually going to delete this column and then add it back, and you're going to see why. So I remove that. I'm going to leave this category image, although this is not the image we want ideally. For the sake of time, we're going to leave this image here. So I can make these tables relational, which is an amazing thing to do. I'm going to call this related things. And I'm going to relate the name of the category to the category. So here in things, I have a category for each, and I want to relate the name to the category. So I just want to double check I did this right. Okay. Lastly, we have the users column. We have the name, the email, and a photo. We can add we can add roles, and we can have someone that's admin and not admin. We can add additional information such as phone number or website or whatever else we want to capture from a user. But for our use case, we just want to leave this as it is. Now, when we go back to our app, we can see things have changed in real time. But actually, I want to customize this layout to be more applicable to how we have our app. So as you can see at the bottom, there's a menu bar. This happens automatically when you hide or show a tab. So as you can see here, there's tabs. We can add another tab, but we can see shopping cart is hidden and you can't see it there. What we're going to add is thing or hide is things. We're going to select categories. And what you're going to see now is that you can only see the categories page when you enter the app. This is going to be for a very, very specific reason. And that reason is we want the user to hit the homepage, see the categories, choose the category, and then see the resources within that category so you don't have too much information. What we then want to do is change the style of this particular page. This detail style allows us to add really interesting components. But for this particular purpose, we want a different homepage style. So I don't think we want list. I typically select this, but actually today I might select list. So when you hit the home screen and hit category, the home category screen, you're going to see a list of resources or the list of the categories. We're also going to change this label at the top just by highlighting label. And we're going to say NG starter. So when we click on this, we will notice something interesting. We notice by default, it shows us the connected related things. This is because on the left, we have an inline list that is showing the related things to that particular category. What we're going to do for this is remove the title and just keep it like that. So we go back and we select funding. You'll see the funding resources. What we might do is change the name and call this funding resources. We go back, change the name. Oh, we're just going to call it resources actually. So now we have our categories page. We have, click on it and we have our resources page. And I think we want to actually customize this. And so to customize a list like this, you just click on it, scroll down, and you can see the title is mapped to name. So this is the title. The details is mapped to category. This is the details, but we're going to just remove that because we already know what category it is. The image is mapped to image in our database. The interesting thing about no code is that you can add a lot of logic without coding. So right now, when you click, it shows the detail screen for that item. But where it says action, we can change the action. We can add a row, we can compose a text, we can dial a phone number, we can go back, we can even connect it to a webhook and APIs and trigger some APIs. But we're going to leave it as it is for now. We can change the item size to be very small or a little bit bigger. We're going to leave it bigger. And that's it. That's all we're going to do on that page for now. The next thing we want to do is customize in the detail screen. So when you click on this, we want to customize this particular screen. We don't like how it looks right now. So on the left, you have the components for this detail screen. So you can see this is that component that's highlighted there. We have a basic table, but we're going to remove both of those and add the components we want. So the first component I want is image. I chose the wrong one. So this is the image that we have in our database that we're going to use. We want text. And now I'm going to format this a little bit differently. So we have the name. We're going to duplicate that so we can put the description. And we're going to change the formatting. So it's like that. As you can see, this page is already coming together. What we also want to do is we want to add a rating column. The users can rate. We're going to add 5 stars. As you can see, it's mapped to the website column, but we actually want it to be mapped to a ratings column. And we don't actually have that. So we need to go back and create a column called rating. Change that to number. And now we have a column ready for ratings. So when we click, we'll see rating, and we can see that there. Now we can actually rate. One of the last things we're going to do on this page is add a button so users can visit the resource. So we're going to say visit website. And we're going to select open link and open link in the browser. So now when a user selects visit a website, what it actually does is open the link in the browser to that particular website. We can also change how this button actually looks, but we're going to leave it as the default. One of the things on this page that we don't actually like is that we have an edit button. Right now, this means anybody can edit information on this page. In reality, we don't want to allow that to happen. Right now, it says allow users to edit. What we would want to do in the real world is add visibility conditions where only admin or approved editors can edit. For now, we're just going to uncheck this and nobody can edit this information. Before I continue, does anybody have any questions? If no one has any questions, I'll keep going. What we want to do next. What we want to do next is we want to allow users to add to our favorites. So let's see if we can do that. So with this particular, I have to change this a little bit to allow users to add to our favorites. So if we scroll down on the cards, we'll see there's a button that says favorite. And now we have a button to add a category to our favorites. To enable the favorites bar, I go and uncheck that, and now we can see the favorites bar. So when I click on that, you can see it's saved in our favorites. If I go back, what we also want to do now is just make some adjustments to our user profile and make sure everything's okay. So we have our user profiles here. It's connected to our users sheet in our database. This sheet, we have name mapped to name, email mapped to email, image mapped to photo, and that's perfect. Perfect. Just double checking everything is how we want it. Okay. The next thing we want to do is we want to start to customize our app a little bit more, customize the font, customize the color scheme before we start to publish. So to do that, we go to settings. In name and icon, we could change the name, change the author, and say what this, add a description to the app. A directory for founders in Nigeria. Then we might want to change the icon. Under appearance, we might change the accent color. Because my actual device is on dark mode, my laptop's in dark mode, it matches my laptop. But if I uncheck match devices theme, you can see what this looks like. And you can see also what it looks like when we make some changes. So I kind of like this one a little bit. Let's stick with that one. We can change the font. Hopefully you saw the font change. And here's where we get into understanding the difference between the free version and the pro version. So the pro version, when you're on a desktop device, it becomes responsive. The free version, it is optimized for mobile. That is one of the differences. What we can also add is a sign in with Google, and we can make it either they don't have to sign in, or they sign in with just their email, or they sign in with Google. So what we're going to do is have public with email, so they need their email to sign in. And also we're going to allow them to sign in with a Google account. Sign in screen. So it allows us to customize this sign in screen, but another pro feature is adding a custom background and also adding a logo right here. But this should be okay for testing purposes or your MVP. So everything is just how we want it. We now want to select publish. We're going to publish this. We're going to call it NG Startup Hub. This is another point about the difference between the free version and pro version. The pro version allows you to add a custom URL. The free version does not. So you're going to have to add a custom subdomain, but the actual domain is going to be glideapp.io. So we hit publish, and it publishes our app. There's another point here in that users do not have to download the app from the Google Play Store or the App Store. They can just visit your app on at a URL. So we go to that URL. I can actually drop this URL in the chat if you want to visit. So I think someone asked the question, is Glide cross-platform? I think that's what I see. And so you can, and I'll show you another tool that allows you to upload this to the Google Play Store and App Store. But as it is right now, all you have to do is share the URL or share the QR code, and they can visit your app. They can either save your app to their home screen because it's a progressive web app. So if you visit the link that I shared in the chat, you can experience what it looks like on mobile device. So just to show you, so you can see this is what it looks like. We can click visit website. It opens the website. So this is the foundation of building apps without coding. It can get a lot more complex. You can connect it to OpenAI and AI APIs. You can connect it to video conferencing APIs. You can make it increasingly more complex. There are some downsides that I mentioned, like the difference between the free version and pro version. This particular tool doesn't allow you to export the code, but there are tools that allow you to export code. So I'll show you two tools that would be interesting to this community. So the first tool that's interesting to this community is Google's proprietary no-code tool. So Google have a tool called Google App Sheet. And I'm not sure if you've been aware of it before, but this is their no-code tool. So as long as you have a Google account, you can use this, play with it. Again, it's free. It does have a premium version, but this is Google's proprietary tool that connects to a lot of Google's technology. There's another tool called Flutterflow, which is a little bit more complex to what I just showed you, but it allows you to connect the backend to Google Firebase, and it also allows you to export Flutter code. So this allows you to actually export the code. If we go to the pricing, it does have a 2-week free trial. So maybe you connect it with one email and experiment for 2 weeks and then connect with another email and then do your real app for another 2 weeks. But You can push the code to GitHub directly from here. I think they recently released something that says they have an IDE that is like Visual Studio Code natively um, for their visual development platform, which is super interesting. You can download the APK, you can download the code, and so yeah, this is really, really interesting. So I believe that is it. Just taking a look at the time. We got a little bit of time left for questions. Does anybody have any questions? So maybe it's easier if you write your questions in the chat and I'll answer each question as I see it. And so I actually missed something. I missed the way you turn a Glide app into a native app. So there's a tool called Nativator. Let me just give it some time to load. And it allows you to convert. Oh, it says they're upgrading. Um, but this allows you to convert any responsive website into a native mobile app. So it basically provides a wrapper for you. You just give it the URL of the website you made, or in our case, the Glide app we made, and it converts it to an Android or iOS. Really, really effective way to turn a Glide application into a native application. So the question that we got is, between Flutterflow and Glide, which one is more simple? I think Glide is more simple. That's why I kind of went over Glide in this presentation, because I think with what I told you, you can go out and build simple applications using Glide. You can build, if we actually go back and I show you some really interesting things. So I'm just gonna freestyle right now and just play and show you some interesting things. So I showed you how to make a directory app. So if I add another column called video, and I add another column called audio, we can create an e-learning app. So let me go to YouTube. Actually, maybe I can go to my own YouTube. Okay. So I created a bunch of videos. Let's find a video that's good. Okay. So basically, a recent video I created is basically how to use AI to generate code. That's on my YouTube channel. But the reason we went to my YouTube channel is to grab a video, because we want to add a video to our app. And I don't know where to find any audio. So that'll be interesting. So I'll just show you video for now. If you wanted to create an e-learning app, if you wanted to create some kind of video-based app, if you wanted to create your own version of YouTube or in an app, you can do that. So what we would want to do is go to Accelerator, go here, and on the detail screen, what we would have to do is we would have to add the component that allows us to display a video. So we can display maps, images, audio, video, websites, charts, progress bars, if you want to create some kind of habit tracker, if you want people to track workouts or to track whether someone's smoking or not, I don't know. but we're going to add the video just to show you what this looks like. And we mapped it to video. So what we actually have now, if we go back, I'm just going to refresh this to make sure it reloads correctly. So we click accelerator, we click here, and we scroll down. We should have been able to see the video. Okay. So the video is loaded. We'll be able to see video. So you can actually embed videos. Released by OpenAI, and you can embed videos in your app. That's an easy way to create an e-learning app. It's an easy way to create an app for your school or an app for your class. Yeah, the sky's really the limit for you and what you can create. So the next question is, yes, you can launch your app without the Play Store. As you can see, I'm not sure if anyone's signed in to this, but I gave you the URL to my app. And with the URL, they can visit your app. So that's what a progressive web app is. A progressive web app, you don't have to upload it to the App Store or Google Play Store. And sometimes it's easier not to. The App Store is very, very strict. The Google Play Store is not that strict. But it allows you to launch relatively simple apps really easily. I've answered this question, but I'll answer it again. Somebody asks, how do you add your app to the Google Play Store? With this particular tool, you use Nativator or a tool like Nativator, but a lot of people are using this with Glide. We'll just let it load again. So it says it's under maintenance, and it's going to launch again this week. But you can even get a previewer to preview what your app will look like before you actually buy. So somebody dropped my YouTube for more resources, but there's also resources in a website called MakerPad. So this has a lot of really great resources. And similar to my YouTube channel, they have how to create marketplaces, how to create job boards. Maybe you want to create a job board for students in Nigeria, mobile applications, automations, basic websites, all of that. It has a lot of that. Also, 100 days of no code. So if we go to Twitter, and what we'll do is type hashtag 100 days of no code. This is the one. And joining this community, following this account, joining this community will help you a lot. There's lots of people that are really beginners in no code, and the experts are the teachers. So I'm a teacher here. I teach lots of people and help the community progress in their no code journey. You have demo days where you can showcase what you built, but it's a challenge to build things for 100 days using no code, and it walks you through really, really simple projects to build. It's very similar to 100 days of code. Okay, so the next question somebody asks, is it possible to develop a chat app with Glide and maybe highlight how to accomplish it? So I'm going to try to remember how to do this. I have done this before. So what we want, I'm actually going to remove this video and I am going to add comments. So I add an entry field that allows users to leave comments. I just want to try this. I think there's something else I do actually have to do before that. Let me just refresh. Okay, we're going to go back. So we had the comments. If I click, I'm not quite sure why that's happening. Let me see if I'm signed in. So we do have a component for comments. I think there are some additional adjustments that I do have to make. I didn't delete these. I think I have to give it a row ID. Let's see. Okay, let's try again. Yeah, I'm not sure why this is happening. I would have to figure out how to debug that. Let me try again on the live version. Okay. Hello world. Post. We can see I've left a comment there. Let me just double check I set this up right. Okay. So I haven't set this up right because the comment is also showing on here. This is why we needed the row ID. But yeah, I would have to look at projects I've made where I have integrated the comments, but you can integrate comments or chat what you were saying. Can you use Glide to develop an iOS app? So yes, at least simple apps. If it's too complicated, it might not be possible. You might have to use another tool like Bubble, Adalo, Flutterflow. These are all a little bit more complicated tools, but you would use Nativator, the same thing. So you basically wrap your Bubble app in a wrapper, and you get an APK file, or you get the file needed for Apple, and you upload it. Does anybody have any other questions? Is your hand still up, or I'm not sure? You can just shout out your question. I think it's Abu Bakr. or you can write your question in the chat box if you want. Links to some projects I developed with Glide. So I actually use another tool with my projects, but I can give you some old ones that I made with Glide, like when I was first starting. So all of these are old. One that I do like that I did. Oh, this was really popular. So it doesn't work now, but this one was really popular at a period of time, and I launched it. It was a TikTok cookbook, so I had all these recipes of TikTok recipes. Some of these links are broken because TikTok actually changed the back end link structure. But yeah, there were recipes, and you could filter by country, and you can find a recipe by the country. That was really popular. And then also, let me see. This one was popular. It was an unofficial Y Combinator app. So I took a lot of Y Combinator's video content and I put it into an app. Uh, let's see if this still works. So I did a similar thing, and this is when I was first starting. So this is a while ago. This is a very old project, but I did a similar thing to what we just did, but I did it with Y Combinator's videos, and I formatted it a little bit differently. So you can see here, you have videos. It has some of the videos, but you can see all of them if you want to see all. So when you go to see all, it will show you all the videos. When we click on the video, and here you actually do have a comment section here, funny enough. So I think this comment section actually works. So if I type in hello world here, it should come up. Oh, maybe it doesn't. But yeah, this was for Y Combinator, a big accelerator in New York. The intent, for me, it was just testing it out, and it was just seeing. It was just for me to learn. So you can see here, I have signed up for premium access, share to Twitter, advertise. So yeah, I use another tool. I use numerous other tools that are a little bit more advanced. So I use this tool called Adalo, and this tool you can't download the code, but you can publish it directly to the Google Play Store. So all I have to do is hit publish, and it directly publishes to the Google Play Store and App Store. And so I'm gonna log in and show you one of the projects. And some of the projects here are just like for fun. Some of them are for like tutorials, and some of them are actually live. So I'll show you a mix of some live ones, some fun ones, and some tutorial ones. So let's see. The one I'm looking for, it is, I think it's this. So this was a test on creating an audio app like Spotify for a content tutorial. And so if we actually preview this, and again, this was just for a tutorial. So it's not, in terms of design, it's not particularly exciting. But you can see I have a list of audio. And then when we click on it, we have almost like a Spotify type component.
Hello everyone. Today's video is sponsored by.
So this is a ASMR. If you know what ASMR is. Again, this was just for content to show you can make an audio app like Spotify. So think about your local environment. Would the people locally want an audio app like Spotify, but for the local market? How can you be a little bit more creative and adjust and add your culture and your experience and your creativity and your flair to make an application like this, but different? There's another one that's actually in production in the App Store, if I can find it. It's called Benchwarmer. And it was from a need that I saw on TikTok. Lots of people were messaging me, and it's a way for you to manage your dating life. So if you use dating apps, if you use Tinder, Hinge, Bumble, I don't know, whatever dating app is popular where you are, it can get a bit crazy. So this was for managing the people that you're talking to, which is also a very big issue in the UK, the US. So this is fictional. I am not talking to any of these. But what you do, you add the person you're talking to. If they do something cool, you can give them a point. If they do something like weird, you can deduct a point. If there's red flags, you can deduct a point. You can delete them. You can edit their details. You can add a note. Here it says she's super talented, but she's crazy. Again, this came out of like TikTok. People were saying they wanted something. I was able to go and build it relatively quickly with no code. Instead of taking 3 to 6 months, it would take me a weekend to build something like this. So there's 3 questions here. It says, somebody asks, it seems like Adalo is a little bit better than Glide. Yes, yeah, so, sorry about that. Someone unmuted themselves. But yes, Adalo is a little bit better than Glide, but it also takes a little bit longer to learn. So with Glide, so here I have a comment section, but this comment section is relational to users, is relational to the red flags, it's relational. So the database structure is a little bit more complicated. Which is why I would do it in another tool. Here you can see it connects to APIs. You can connect to APIs, and I'm not sure if I actually want to show this because it might not work. But we can go ahead and give it a try. So I have an app here that's connected to some AI APIs, and in theory, when I add the text, it should summarize the text. So here is the text that I input, and here is the summary. It's a bit rough around the edges, but again, this was what I used for a tutorial. So if I click submit here, what it will do, what it should do is add here. and then it makes a summary of that text. This is using AI. So you you can connect APIs in Glide. It's a little bit easier to do in Adalo. Also, for me, I was publishing apps, even though it's not connected to that app. But if I go down to that Benchwarmer app, I was publishing this directly. Look, you could. I was getting the build files and publishing it directly to the Google Play Store. Um, I didn't publish this particular app to the iOS store, but to the Google Play Store, I was publishing it directly. Someone asked, "Does Glide support Firebase as a backend?" No, that would be Flutterflow. To use Firebase as a backend, you would want to use Flutterflow. Somebody else asked, which one's the best for developing an app, and it really depends on the use case. There's some apps I didn't use any of these whatsoever, so I have another app. And my reason for showing you all of this is to show you what's possible, but to also show you the range of things you can create and explore. Again, without coding. Coding really does help though. So typically I tell people about no code, but the real power is knowing how to code, because sometimes you can customize things that's not possible with the tool natively. Your also understanding of technical concepts is really important. So I used a tool called Bubble for this. It's probably one of the most complex no-code tools. And this is a review generator, again, using AI. So if I type in Trello, I say Trello is essential, it's a time saver, and it's outstanding. I type my email, I click generate. What we will see in a second or two, it will generate a fully written review for me. So we're done. It says, I cannot recommend Trello highly enough. It's an essential tool that saved me so much time. The features are outstanding and it's very user friendly. I just copy that and I paste that in Amazon. I paste that in Google reviews or wherever I want to paste that. To do an application like that, you do have to have technical knowledge. You have to understand how APIs work and how API calls work. And this is why code is important, but it's also important to understand what you need to use to be most effective. Not every platform you have to code from scratch. Somebody asks, can you use the same process to build an online radio app? I'm not sure if you mean live or on demand, but definitely on demand. If you're talking about live, I would have to think about how you would execute that live. Chances are you would have to use some type of API to connect to some type of live streaming, um, to some live streaming platform. Crypto system using Glide. So when you say crypto system, I'm not entirely sure what you mean, but there's specific tools like in the beginning presentation, I did have Web3 as a separate section. So Glide, you would want to use Glide for more mobile apps, native apps, but there's a tool called Third Web. Again, this is another no-code tool, and it allows you to create smart contracts. It allows you to create cryptocurrency tokens. It allows you to create lots of different things without coding. If I actually log in, if it's going to take too long for me to connect, I might not connect. I can't remember what account. Okay, maybe I think it's this account. Okay, and I think I was on the Polygon network, maybe. Okay, so yeah, you can see here I've created a cryptocurrency token. I didn't deploy it. I didn't sell it. It was just for me to create, to learn how to do it. Um, really fun project, really effective way. Sorry, my laptop's about to die. So really fun project, really effective way to do this. Again, if I was to click deploy a new contract, I'll show you. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I'm just going to show you. You can create tokens, editions, NFTs, different types of NFTs. You can create a marketplace. There's other tools within the Web3 ecosystem where you can create NFT marketplaces and mint sites. That would be a whole nother workshop, but it's definitely possible. I think there was maybe one more question. Somebody asked about, so this is recorded, so you'll be able to watch it back and like make a note of the platforms. uh I will put some of them in the chat, but obviously not all of them. You can probably get the rest if you watch it back. um for Abu Bakr, with the online radio app on demand, it's relatively easy. I kind of showed you how to, well, I didn't show you, but I showed you it could be done with Odalo, and you can do that with Glide too. I'm not sure how you would do the live streaming functionality. So if you could find an API that does live streaming, you can definitely do it. But you would need some kind of API to do a live radio application. Potentially, you can use this. Let's see. You can use this tool and embed it in your app. I think my laptop might actually go off. So this is video calling. So if you have a video radio station, you can probably do it. I'm not sure about exclusively audio, but you could do it this way. You can use this, embed this in your application, and that would work. And the embed is this iframe embed, which is easy to do in your application.